In this video, we're going to talk about how your labs in 143 are graded. Let's begin by talking about the general structure of the labs that you will see in this course. The structure goes as follows: the individual lab, the group lab, and the group evaluation. I'm going to explain each of these pieces separately, but I want to make this disclaimer. This structure, although standard for the course, is not true for all labs. Now I'll discuss the individual labs and how they're graded. The individual lab grade is dependent upon your effort. In most cases, your instructor will not look for correct answers except for those individual labs that explicitly state they will be graded for accuracy. Individual labs are graded on a point deduction system, and those points are deducted from your group grade and will not affect other members of your group. There are 4 levels of point deductions. 1. If no lab was submitted, up to 50 points will be deducted from your grade. 2. If you make an attempt but your work shows major lack of effort, then you can have up to 30 points deducted. 3. If you make an attempt but still showed minor lack of effort, then up to 50 points can be deducted. 4. If you attempted all parts of the lab, then you will have no points deducted from your grade. Notice this says up to in most cases, which means that you could have up to that amount or less depending on other factors such as your overall group grade or your group evaluations. Group labs. Group labs are graded on accuracy. You will see comments and reasons for your group's point deductions on a group lab in Blackboard under that particular assignment's submission link. These assignments must be uploaded to Blackboard by the due date, or your entire group may receive a 0. The third and final portion is the group evaluation. The following expectations are what Math 143 instructors expect to see in a group. There are 5 expectations you should look for in each group member. 1. A group member should be present during the entire allotted time. 2. A group member should be prepared with individual lab, meaning they completed the individual lab, printed, or brought their computer and were able to collaborate with the group. 3. Group members should contribute useful ideas on all sections of the lab. 4. All group members stayed on task. 5. A group member should demonstrate a cooperative and supportive attitude during the lab. You should rate each of your group members based on an additive score of the number of expectations they met. For example, a group member who did not bring their individual lab to class and left during the time the group was working on the group lab would receive 3 out of 5. Your instructor will calculate your average by taking the scores your group members gave you and averaging them, taking the next largest integer. For example, a score of 3.2 will receive an overall group evaluation of a 4. I will explain this more on the next slide. Group evaluations are also based on a deduction system. Here are the deductions you can receive. All the points, up to 75 points, 50 points, 30 points, 15 points, and no points. Again, this is based on the number of expectations you met and your overall average. Again, group evaluations, you must rate each member of your group. Your score will be the average rounded up to the next integer. And for example, a score of a 3.2 would be rounded up to a 4. So I want you to notice when you look at the grade book and at these grades, you should first notice that zeros on most individual labs and every group evaluation should be seen as having no impact on your grade. And negative grades in Blackboard are the ones that have a negative impact on your grade. Now we'll look at an example student's Blackboard. This example is for the Simpson's Paradox Lab. You will see the 3 components: the individual lab, the group lab, and the group evaluation. Let's start with the individual portion. This student received a negative 15, which means they had negative 15 points deducted. The group submission, in this row, It shows the entire group received a 90. On this student's group evaluation, they received all 5s, which means they had 0 points deducted. This 0 does not mean that they did not do it. This means that they received 0 reductions. The final row is the final grade, and this is what is calculated into the overall course average. You see that this final grade is the 90 minus the 15, which gives them a 75. Therefore, their final Simpson's paradox grade would be a 75. As I said, this is how most labs will be seen inside the Blackboard's Grade Center. If you have any further questions, you should reach out to your instructor. The main points that I want you to take away from this is that zeros on most individual labs and group evaluations are not necessarily a bad thing. They are an indication that you did not receive any deductions. Negatives are bad. They negatively affect your grade. Final lab grade, such as the Simpson's paradox final grade you saw in the previous example, should never be negative. The lowest you should get in a final grade row is a 0. Contact your instructor to make sure that no error was made in the Grade Center. Thank you for watching.